So in today's session, we are going to discuss about the concept of profiles. We'll see what exactly a profile, what is the use, and what a profile decides basically, what kind of permissions we can grant through with the help of profiles, and how can we create our own custom profiles, and how to assign these custom profiles to the users, and how can we grant the permissions with the help of profiles. We'll see practically today here. Okay, each and every feature one by one. So everybody is aware of the concept of profiles as part of our initial concept of security. There we have discussed about the concept of profile. And we have discussed how to create our own custom profile also we have discussed. But we haven't discussed how to grant the permissions to the users through profile. Now I am going to be digging into that concept now. So how can we grant the permissions and the various features inside the organization to the users with the help of profile? We'll see practically here. Now, then what do you mean by a profile basically here? When coming to the profile, profile is nothing but a component. Okay, profile is nothing but a component, or it is an entity which contains some set of permissions. Okay, which contains a group of permissions which can be assigned to one or more number of users. That means what? Inside my organization, we are having so many users are available. Some customers are there, some partners are there, few HR people are available, finance people are available, accounts department people are available, sales people are available, service people are available. Like that, we are having so many people are available inside my organization. These are all the users of my organization. Whenever these people are accessing my applications, whenever these people are logging into my Salesforce applications, then at that time, for these people, what features to be get visible? What applications these people can access? What features these people can access? Everything we can decide with the help of a profile. Even though upon creating the user record by assigning a specific license will be granting the full permissions to the user. But I don't want to grant full permissions to all the people. In some cases, I need a remote control. I need a controlling mechanism through which I can control the visibility of the features. Whenever it is needed, I will grant access on some more features. Whenever it is not required, I will remove the access on some features also. So that here I can make that switch on and off. So that here I want that remote controlling mechanism at my side. For that one, we are going to be configuring the profiles. So now that already you are aware of that here. Already you are aware of that when coming to the profiles. So when coming to the profiles here, profile is acting as the mediator between your organization and the users. So when coming to my organization, okay, we are having my organization. In my organization, I'm having so many features. Like so many applications are available, including both standard and custom. We are having so many tabs, including standard and custom. We have so many objects, standard and custom. We have so many fields, standard and custom. We have so many features also, standard and custom features. Everything is available. All the facilities, all the features are available inside my organization here. Now, inside my organization, I'm adding some users. Like these are the people I'm adding here. User 1, I'm adding to my organization. User 2, I'm adding to my organization. User 3 also. User 4 and the user 5. Whenever I'm adding these users to my organization, these users can able to access my organization features. So in this case, depends upon the license which I have assigned, it will be granting the full permissions to the people. If I am assigning that Salesforce license to the user, Salesforce license will be granting the access on all standard, all custom functionalities. If I am assigning the platform license to the user, then platform license is purely granting on the custom functionalities along with few standard objects of your Salesforce instance, but not all standard functionalities. So in this case here, okay, in this case, I want a controlling mechanism where even though my license is granting the full permissions to the user, okay, I can able to restrict that permissions here for some of the features. For that one, in between that user and the organization, we are introducing the mediator component called as profile. When coming to the profile, profile is nothing but a mediator component between the user and the organization. Okay? Profile is a mediator component between the user and the organization. So whenever that organization is granting the full permissions, the profile will restrict the permissions over here. Whenever user is trying to be accessing additional features, my profile will control that. It will be giving some message. So as a user, you don't have the rights to access this feature. Like that here. So now the profile is going to be controlling the visibility of the features. For that one, we are introducing the mediator component called as profile. So that here, when coming to the profile, profile is nothing but a component which contains one or more number of permissions and which can be assigned to one or more users also. A group of permissions we can able to place inside a component, that component we can assign to that users also. So in this case, when coming to that users, every user should be associated with a profile, but a profile can be assigned to multiple users also. You know this association already we have discussed. Okay. So now user to profile, one-to-one association, because a user should be associated with only one profile, with only one license, with only one role, not multiple. But a role can be assigned to multiple users, a profile can be assigned to multiple users here. Okay? License should be assigned to only one user. User to license one-to-one, license to user also one-to-one association. You know that concept here. Okay? Now, in this case, when coming to the profile, with the help of this profile, we can grant the permissions on the various features inside your organization. Okay? Now, so now in this case, how can we grant the permissions to the users with the help of profile? Now let's see over here. Okay? Now, then what features we can grant the permission with the help of these profiles? Now let's see. By using that profile, we can grant the permissions on applications. That means what applications the user can access, that we can decide. What tabs the user can access, we can decide. What objects the user can access, we can decide. What operations the user can perform on each and every object, we can decide. What fields the user can access, we can decide. And then what session settings to be applicable, we can decide. What password policies to be applicable, we can decide. What general permissions, custom permissions, system permissions, administrative permissions can be assigned to the user, we can decide. What Apex classes the user can access, we can decide. What Visualforce pages the user can access, we can decide. What login hours can be applicable, we can decide. What login IP ranges can be applicable, we can decide. What external data sources and named credentials can be accessible by this user, we can decide. So all these things we can able to place in one location, that is called as profile. So with the help of this profile, we can able to control almost 99% of the features of your organization. Okay? If you are able to access some features, then because of the profile only. If you are unable to access the features, then because of the profile itself. Okay? Because inside your profile level, you don't have the permissions, you don't have those rights. Then in this case, how can we grant the permissions to the users? With the help of profile, now let's see practically here. Okay? Now make a note here. By using profiles, we can grant the permissions on the below features to the users. By using the profiles, we can grant the permissions on the below features to the users. That means what features that user can access, we can decide with the help of profile. Then what features we can able to make it visible through profile. Now let's see. Let me list out that features first, then we'll see each and every option one by one practically. Now, By using that profile, we can specify what applications the user can access. By using the profile, we can specify what applications the user can access. And we can specify what tabs the user can access. And we can specify what objects the user can access. We can specify what operations the user can perform on each object. We can specify what fields the user can access. We can specify what record types the user can access. We can specify what session settings to be applicable to the user. And we can specify what password policies to be applicable to the users. We can specify what general permissions to be applicable to the users. We can specify what administrator permissions to be applicable. We can specify what custom permissions and system permissions to be applicable to the users. And we can specify what login hours to be applicable to the users. We can specify what login IP ranges to be applicable to the users. We can specify what Apex classes can be accessible by the users. We can specify what Visual Force pages can be accessible by the users. We can specify what external data sources and named credentials can be accessible by the users. All these things we can decide in one place, okay, with the help of this profile. Along with that, we can specify. We can specify what page layouts to be applicable to the users. We can decide all these permissions we can specify in one place, that is called as profile. These are the various permissions we can grant to the users inside the profile. Whenever the user is trying to be accessing any of the feature, first of all, Salesforce will go to that user's profile. In that user profile, it will verify whether this user is having the permission to access this feature or not. In the profile level, if you are having that permission, then only Salesforce will grant the access on the feature to you. Inside the profile level, if you don't have that permission, then you can't access that feature. Salesforce will be giving that message to you insufficient privileges, so you don't have the rights to access that feature here. So now let's see how can we grant the permissions on each and every feature to the users. One by one we'll see practically here. Now, so now with the help of that profile, we can decide what applications can be accessible by the users. Okay, like for example, I'm having some HR people are there. For that HR people, I want to display only that I want to make only the HR application to be get accessible. For the sales people, only sales application to be accessible. Remaining application they should not be able to access. For the service people, they can access only the service application, not the other applications. Like that, how can we restrict the people? So now on the application level. Okay, now let's see practically in this case here. Now, let's take a small use case. Now, so now before giving that use case, let me explain the actual requirement now first. Inside my organization, we are having so many users are available. Okay, we have so many users are there, like development user, manager user, testing user, and customer user. And this training batch user is the administrator person over here. Okay, he is the administrator. Now we have 4 more users are also available inside my organization here. Okay, now, so now for example, the development user. What applications development user will access right now? Now, when coming to the development user, let's verify. Login into the development user account, let's verify. Now, currently, now the development user is able to access all the applications, standard and custom both. He is able to access talent acquisition application, which is a custom. Story Pulse is also a custom. Remaining all are standard. So he is able to access both standard and custom applications. Now, my requirement is, I would like to grant the access on only sales application and talent acquisition application to this particular development user. Remaining applications you should not be able to access. I want to restrict like that. How? How can we do that? Now let me explain. That means when the development user has been logged in, he can able to see only the talent acquisition application and the sales application. That means one standard, one custom, not the remaining applications over here. Okay, then how can we restrict the visibility? But currently he is able to access all the applications. Service application also he can access. Marketing application also he can access. He can access that Story Pulse application also he can access. But I don't want to make it visible. I want to make this person to be get accessible only the talent acquisition and sales application. Remaining application he should not be able to access. How can we restrict that with the help of profile? Now let's see practically in this case. Okay, now make a note of this use case. Configure the profile level permissions to grant access on only sales and talent acquisition applications. To be accessible by the development user. Development user should be able to access only the sales application and the talent acquisition application, not the remaining. Then how can we restrict the visibility of the other applications available inside my organization to this user? Now let's see. Then what we can do in this case? In this case, where we can specify the permissions inside that profile level. So, development user is associated to a profile. So, go to the development user's profile. In that profile, you will be having that application related settings will be available. There we can able to remove the access on that remaining applications which you don't want to grant access to the person. Okay. So whatever the applications you would like to grant the visibility, make those application checkbox to be selected. Remaining application checkbox, you can unselect that here. Then how to do that? Now let's see practically here. Okay, now. So let's go to that. I'm coming out from the development user account. Now currently I'm in the administrator user account. Go to that development user. This is the development user that we have. Development user is associated to a profile called as CIS Salesforce profile. Okay, this is the profile to which the user is associated. Now click on this profile. The profile will be getting open for you. Now this is the CIS Salesforce profile which has been assigned to the development user. Now inside the profile level we can specify what applications to be get visible to the user. So in this case, just to go to that profile, click on edit button. Okay, click on edit button. Because I want to grant some permissions, I want to remove some permissions. So that click on edit button. Once you click on this edit button, you will be having that profile settings will be available. In those settings, you will be having the first section called as custom app settings. That means what applications to be get visible to the user that we can decide. Here all the application names have been populated, including standard and custom applications, all the names. Now these are the various application names are available. Standard and custom application, both the names will be getting visible to you over here. Okay. So now we are having the Analytics Studio and then App Launcher, Bold Solutions, Standard Community, Content Application, and then the Lightning Usage App. Standard application, marketing, nothing but the classic marketing application. Marcus Story Pulse, my custom application. And then sales application. And then this is the standard sales application. This is the lightning sales application. And this is the classic sales application. And then the sales console. And then you will be having service console, site.com, talent acquisition, work.com. These are the various applications are available. Now from these applications, what application this user can able to access? For that one, we are having a checkbox called as visible checkbox is available here. Okay, there is a visible checkbox is available. So now this checkbox has been selected for all the applications. That means this user is able to access all these applications over here. If you don't want to grant access on any of the application, just you can go to that application and select this checkbox over here. That's it. Done. Nothing else. Okay. Now, so now here in this case, I don't want to grant the access on all the applications. I would like to grant the access on what kind of applications? Only the talent acquisition and then sales application. So that now the sales application has been selected over here and the talent acquisition application checkbox is selected. Remaining checkboxes I would like to unselect because I don't want to grant the access on this application. Just you can unselect that. That means this user should not be able to access this remaining applications over here. Okay, I'm unselecting that. So only two checkboxes are selected. One is sales application, the classic sales application, and then talent acquisition. That means here the talent acquisition application also he can able to access. Okay. Now, in this case, from these two application, which application will be the by default one? Now, in this case, it is indicating that sales. That means what? Whenever I'm switching from one user to another user, or whenever I'm logging into that particular user account, which application has to be get selected by default inside the App Launcher. For that one, we can indicate that here. Suppose if you want to make that talent acquisition as a default one, just select this one here. Your default application we can select with the help of radio button. Only one application is a default one. And then when coming to the applications, you will be having checkboxes are available. For example, I want to make that sales application as the default one over here. Okay. Now just unselect the checkboxes for the remaining applications and make it save. That's it. Done. Okay. Now, so let's have the testing process now. Now log in into the development user account. Log in into the development user account. Now let's see what applications he can able to access now. He is able to access only two applications, sales and talent acquisition. From these two, the default selected of application is sales application because we have made it as default one. Okay, clear? Now, just you have to go to that user's profile, and then inside that profile, you will be having that app settings are available. Just to select the checkboxes for the applications which you would like to make it visible. And for the remaining application, just unselect that checkbox over here. Okay? Clear? Now sometimes here, I want to grant the access only on the talent acquisition application, not even sales application also. How can we do this one? Then what we can do? Now, make a note of the second use case. Do you want the navigation? Not required? Okay. Because go through the document also. In that document, clearly I have documented everything, step by step. Now, configure the profile level permission to the development user to access only talent acquisition application. This is the second use case. Configure the profile level permission to the development user to access only talent acquisition application. He can able to access only the talent acquisition application, not the other applications here. Now, so let's see the practical part now. Just go to the development user's profile. So this is the profile which we have assigned to the development user, that is CIS Salesforce profile. Now, just to go to that, edit the permission for the profile. Now we are having that, the application level settings. Here we need to grant the access on only one application, that is called as talent acquisition here. I want to unselect this checkbox over sales application also should not be able to access. When I try to unselect that, it is not accepting. Then what we can do? Default. We have to switch the default to that talent acquisition here, and then we can able to unselect this checkbox. Okay? Now, so now save the changes here. Now he can able to access only talent acquisition application features, not even sales also. Now let's save this one. So let's log in into the user account, development user account. Let's see. Now, do we have that app launcher menu is available? Why? He is having the access on only one application. This is that application here. So that you don't have that app launcher menu. Because here previously we are having that an app launcher is available. There is a pick list which is populating the application names to you. But you don't have the access on multiple applications. You are having the access on only one application. This is that application. So you don't have that option over here. Okay? If you are having the access on the multiple application, then you can switch from one application to another application. At that time, this app launcher menu will be getting visible to you over here in the right side of the top right corner. But here, he is having the access on only one application, that is talent acquisition. This is that application features over here, so that he can't access that remaining applications. Okay? No, it won't display that application name. This is the application is having right now over here. Okay? Based on the features, he can understand that. Okay? Clear? Now, for example, assume that I'm having the testing user. So the testing user is accessing what applications? Talent acquisition and Merck Story Pulse. Okay, both the application they can able to access over here. Okay, now, in this case here, this profile has been getting assigned. That means here for these users, we have assigned the profile over here. What is that profile? CIS platform profile. The same profile I have assigned to that all the three users. Like, customer user is also having that same profile, and the manager user is also having the same profile, and the testing user is also having the same profile over here. That is CIS platform profile over here. For this profile users, I would like to grant the access on only on the Story Pulse application. Okay, not the other applications over here. Even platform and talent management application, they can't access here. How can we restrict? Now let's see practically. I'm giving that use case over here. Try this use case today. Configure the profile level permissions to the platform profile users to grant the access on only Story Pulse application. Only Story Pulse application. Whenever I'm granting the permissions in the profile level, if the profile has been assigned to the multiple users, then all the people will be getting the similar kind of permissions here. Yes, because here all the people belongs to the same profile, so that whatever the permissions that we're assigning inside that profile level, now the same permissions will be getting applicable to all the users which has been assigned to this profile over here. Okay. Sometimes you can raise a question, sir, whenever I'm granting the permission and Story Pulse inside this profile level, testing user, customer user, manager user, all these three people will be getting the access on only on that Story Pulse. But in some cases, for the manager user, I want to grant the access on talent management application also. How? Okay, that we'll see that concept, okay, separately. That is a permission set concept over here. Okay, now. Clear? Now. Next one. Got the information? Okay, how can we grant access on the applications to the users? Now. The second one. So now how can we grant the access on the tabs? Okay, how can we grant the access on the tabs here? You will be having the tab bar. Okay, you will be having the tab bar. Here the tab bar is available. On this tab bar, okay, on this tab bar, so many tabs are visible, like accounts tab, contacts, opportunities, cases, solutions, hiring managers, positions, candidates, like that. So many tabs are available. Then what tabs will be get visible on the tab bar for the user's profile? By default, we can decide here. What tabs they can able to access? Okay, what tabs they can able to access, we can decide with the help of this, the profile level itself. So that with the help of this tab settings, we can indicate what tabs to be get visible to the user on the tab bar, we can decide. In this case, whenever we are going to be granting the tab level settings, for each and every tab, you will be having three permissions are available. Okay, we have three permissions are available for each and every tab. The first one is default on. Second one is default off. Third one is tab hidden. So these are the three permissions are available for the tab. Then what do you mean by default on? What do you mean by default off and tab hidden? What it means basically over here. Default on in the sense what? Whenever you are indicating the tab setting as default on, then automatically by default the tab will be visible to you on the tab bar over here. Default on means what? By default, whenever the user is logging into that application, the tab will be visible to you on the tab bar. Okay, now the second one, default off. What do you mean by default off? Whenever the user is logging into the application, tab will not be visible to you on the tab bar over here. Okay, the tab will not be visible to you on the tab bar. That means what? Now the user is not having the tab on the tab bar by default. But when the user go to the all tabs option, like as a plus symbol, that means all tabs. Inside this all tabs option, the user can able to see the tab. From there, he can add the tab onto the tab bar also by using customize my tabs button. How to add the tabs onto the tab bar? You know that concept here. Now in this case, whenever I'm making that tab setting as the default off. That means what? By default, tab will not be visible to you on the tab bar, but the tab is there inside that all tabs option. From there, we can add the tab to the tab bar by using customize my tabs button. Okay. Now, sometimes if I'm giving the tab setting as tab hidden, then at that time, tab will not be visible to you on the tab bar. Tab will not be visible to you inside that all tabs option. So that means you don't have the access on the tab. So you can't insert the records through user interface. You can't manage the record through user interface. At that time, we have to go with that through programming or some other alternative tools, or by using some integration process, we have to manage the records. Okay. So in this case, if I'm giving the tab setting as a tab hidden, so at that time the tab will not be visible to you on the tab bar, the tab will not be visible to you inside the all tabs option. So that means you don't have the access on the tab. Okay? Clear? Now. So now let's see here in this case. For example, let me go to the development user account. For this development user account, these are the various tabs are visible by default. Leads tab is there, accounts, contacts, opportunities, cases, solutions, campaigns, like that. Now we can indicate here. Okay, we can indicate what tabs to be get visible, what tabs not to be get visible inside this. Okay, now make a note of this use case here. Take a small use case. Configure profile level permissions for the development user to restrict the visibility. The visibility of the tabs as below. In this case, cases tab should not be visible. Is the first permission I would like to grant. And then contacts tab should be visible in the all tabs option. All tabs option. All tabs option. I want to display contacts tab inside the all tab. That means it should not be visible on the tab bar by default, and the cases tab you should not be able to access at all. Okay. Then how can we restrict that here? Now let's see. Now let's see how can we configure these profile level permissions, okay, for the tabs. In this case, go to the profile of that respective user and go to the tab settings. Okay, now. So let me come out from this development user account. Now, so I'm having that the development users profile is available, that is CIS Salesforce profile. Now you will be having the tab settings. Go to that profile level permissions, click on edit button. Once you click on this edit button, you will be having the tab settings section. Go to the tab settings section. Here it is indicating all the tab names. Home tab is the default one. It should be visible always on the tab bar. Now the accounts tab. For each and every tab, you will be having some options. Tab hidden, default off, default on. You will be having the three options are available. Even though you may be having your custom objects also. For your custom objects, you are having the default on, default off, tab hidden over here. Okay, all these options are available to you over here. Now in this case, my requirement is what? For this development user, Cases tab should not be visible. That means the tab has to be get hide, and then contacts tab should be visible inside that alt tabs option. Then what we can do in this case now? For the cases tab, what is the setting that we need to apply right now? Tab hidden. Okay, tab hidden. That means this tab should not be visible to the user. Okay, on the tab or tab bar and as well as inside the alt tabs also. Next, the contacts. Contacts tab. What is that option here? Default off. Okay, I want to make it as default tab. Now, make it save. So now my profile level permissions has been saved successfully. Let's log in into that users here. So now log in into the development user account. Now let's see. So now tell me, contacts tab is visible over here? No. Cases tab is visible? No. Okay, now these tabs are not visible. We are having that campaigns, leads, accounts, opportunities, and the solution. Contacts is not visible and the cases is not visible. When you go to that plus symbol, customize my tabs here. Then here you will be having the tabs here. What tab is visible? Contacts tab is visible over here? Yes. This tab is not visible on the tab bar by default. The tab is visible inside that alt tab section. Now tell me, do we have the cases tab over here? No. He's not having the access on the cases tab at all. So this contacts tab, he can make it adding onto that tab bar also here. Let's go to that contacts tab. We can make it visible on the tab bar also here. Okay. Now we can make it visible on the tab bar, but the cases tab is not at all visible. He don't have the access on the tab so that he can't able to manage the record through user interface. Okay. These are the three settings are available for your tab. Okay, for each and every tab, you will be having three settings: default on, default off, and then tab hidden. Okay, clear? Now, next, the third one, object level permissions. So in this case, we can specify what objects can be accessible by this particular user here. Okay. With the help of this object level permissions, we can indicate what objects the user can able to access, what objects the user can interact. Okay, we can specify that. Then whenever I'm going to be specifying that, okay, whenever I'm indicating what objects a user can access and what operations he can do, at that time, for every object, Salesforce is providing the 6 checkboxes here. Okay, for every object, Salesforce is providing 6 levels of permissions. On every object level, you will be having 6 permissions are available here. Like for example, I'm having so many objects are available. Like I have account object, contact object, case object, lead object, campaign object, order object. Along with that, I'm having my custom objects also, like as customer object here, hiring manager object, position object, candidate object here. Like that, I'm having some standard custom objects are available. On every object, you will be having 6 permissions which has been given by Salesforce. Now, for every object level, you will be having that 6 permissions. On every object level, you will be having that 6 permissions. You will be having 6 permissions on each and every object level. Okay. So you will be having that 6 permissions on each and every object level over here. Now what are these permissions? Now let's see. The first permission is nothing but the read permission. Second one, create permission. Third one, edit permission. Fourth one, delete permission. Fifth one, view all permission. And the sixth one, modify all permission. These are the 6 permissions are available here. Okay. These are the 6 permissions are available. On each and every object, we can able to grant that 6 levels of permissions over here. Then what is this each and every permission describes basically? Now in this case, if the first checkbox has been selected, that means read. This checkbox is granting the read permission to the user on the records. Now create, this checkbox will be granting the create permission. That means the user can create some new records. If the user wants to create the new record, then what he will do generally? He will go to that respective Salesforce instance, and then he will be click on that a button called as new button here. Okay. Then only the new form will be getting opened so that he can create a new record. Now, depends upon the checkbox which has been selected in the profile level, respective buttons will be getting visible. Now, if this checkbox create permission, nothing but this create permission is not selected, at that time, automatically this new button will be getting disabled over here. So he can't see this new button over here, so that he can't create any more records inside this. So depends upon the checkbox selection, respective button will be getting visible here. If that create checkbox is selected, then new button will be getting visible to you. If the edit checkbox is selected, edit button will be getting visible to you. If the delete checkbox is selected, delete button will be getting visible. If the checkboxes are not selected, buttons will not be visible to you, so you can't perform the operations on that. Okay, so that not only indicating what objects the user can access, we can specify what operations the user can perform in each and every object records also. Okay, now, so now here in this case here, now whenever I'm granting this permission, if you grant that read permission, then automatically the user can able to read the records. Whatever the records he has created or whatever the records has been shared by the other people to him, he can able to see that record here. Only read permission. Now create checkbox will be enabling the new button so that this user can create some new records inside my account object here. Edit checkbox, which is going to be indicating this user can modify the records which he has created. Delete permission is giving the delete button will be getting visible so that he can delete the records which he has created in the past. Now these operations are only for his records only, not the other user records. Okay. Now when you use that view all permission inside that profile level, at that time view all permission is going to be granting the permission to you so that you can see the other user records also. Whatever the records have been created by the other users inside your organization, those records also we can see, which is available inside your account object here. If the other users inside the organization has created some more account records, those records also will be getting visible to you. But you can't modify those record values. Suppose if you're having that modify all permission, then you will be having the rights that not only viewing your record, not only modifying your records, you can see the other people records, you can modify the other people records also. That permission is available to you. Okay. So now this view all or modify all permission is granting the full permissions that not only you can visible, you can able to see your account records, you can see the other people's account records also. That means inside my organization, for example, I'm granting this view all and modify all permission inside my development users profile. So at that time, if other users are creating some account record, those records also visible to that development user here. Okay, that permission will be given by that the view all and modify all permissions. Okay. Now, so in this case, depends upon the checkbox your selected respective button will be getting visible to you over here. Okay. Now, in this case, whatever the checkboxes are available, these are having some logical dependency. There is a dependency is available when coming to that the checkboxes here. For example, if I am selecting this read checkbox, only the read checkbox will be getting selected here. Okay, only the read checkbox will be getting selected here. That means just you can able to see the records whatever we have inside your account object here. You can't create, you can't modify, you can't delete, you can't see the other people's record here. Only your records you can able to see. Okay. Suppose, for example, if I'm selecting that create checkbox, then what will happen in this case? Now, upon creating that record, what happened? Create checkbox means what? It is granting that permission to create the new record. That means new button will be getting visible. Once you click on that new button, form will be getting opened. So I'm entering some details inside this. I'm creating the record. When I click on that save button, my record will be getting created here. Okay. When I click on that save button, my record will be getting created over here. Okay, my record will be getting created. Once a record is created, and it is redirecting the user to the detail page, right? That means what is its permission now? View permission. So that here, whenever I'm going to be selecting the create checkbox, automatically read checkbox also will be getting selected by default here. This is the dependency. If I'm granting that create permission, automatically read permission also will be granting by Salesforce by default here. Okay? Now, next one. Now, I'm granting the permission of edit. What will happen in this case? What other checkboxes will be getting selected? Read and create. Why read and create? Suppose if you want to modify the record, you have to see the record first, right? So for that one, read permission. Create here, why? Why create permission? Okay, sometime back I have created that record. I am the owner of that record. Now we need that create permission? No. Already created records I am removing right now. So that here, whenever I am selecting that edit permission, automatically read checkbox also will be getting selected here. Okay? Now, for example, I am selecting the delete permission over here. Deleting in the sense what? First of all, you have to open the record, right? That means you are viewing that record, right? So that read permission will be available. Click on delete button, record will be getting removed over here from your object here. Then, in this case, what other options will be getting selected? Read option will be getting selected, okay? In this case, it will be selecting that edit permission also. Why? Why edit permission will be getting granted over here? Why edit permission will be getting granted? Paging object in a sense. Okay. Okay. Now, why we need that edit option especially? What is the need? If I'm removing the record, not only that particular column value, the whole record from the table will be getting deleted. Now here, let me explain. For example, I'm having an object here. I'm having an object like as some customer. Inside this customer object here, or else account object, whatever, anything, simply, any table here. I'm having that account name, industry, and the rating. These are the columns are there. So this is my account object. In my account object, I'm having this ID column and the name column, rating column, and the industry column. So these are the 4 columns are there inside my object now. Now, I'm having some records inside my object now. The first record 001, some 234, some Ram Kumar, rating value some heart, industry some banking. Second record 001, some 345, some Suresh P. Rating is some warm. Industry is some finance. 001456. Some Rakesh. Rating is some heart. And he is from education. So these are the 3 records are available here inside my object. Now whenever I'm deleting the record, what will happen? Whenever I'm deleting the record, what will happen? Will the record will be removing permanently from your Salesforce instance? No. The record will not be removed permanently. Then what it will do? Where the record will go? Recycle bin. Recycle bin is what? Is it a table? Is it a feature or what? Basically, whenever I'm deleting the record from my table, record won't go anywhere. Record will be there in the table itself. Okay? Record will be there inside the table itself over here. Then how Salesforce will know this is a record which is a deleted one, this is a record which is not a deleted one. For that one, in every object, Salesforce is maintaining one additional column over here. Okay? Salesforce is maintaining an additional column over here. That column name is deleted. So that column name is deleted. This is the column will be maintaining by Salesforce in every table. It may be standard, it may be custom everywhere. Because for the system reference, Salesforce is maintaining this table here. Now, in this case, whenever I'm creating a record, initially, just now I have created the 3 records. Now tell me, these records are the deleted records here? No, these are just created. So that here, it is having that value as false. That means this is not a deleted record here, because this is a checkbox field, which will be having true or false. Now this is not a deleted record, just it is a created record here. So here also, false. False. Here also false. Okay. That means what? This record is not a deleted one. This column will not be visible to inside the fields list here. Okay. Inside your fields list, this column is deleted, will not be visible to you. When you go to the developer console to see the object structure, there you can see that column here. Okay. In the normal view fields option inside the force.com quick access menu, this column will not be visible to you. Okay. Now, in this case, for example, these are the 3 records are there which are not the deleted one. Just now I have created the record. Now, for example, I'm removing this record here. I'm removing this record right now. Whenever I'm deleting this record, what will happen? As soon as once you click on the delete button, what it will do is, whatever the value is available for this particular column here, whatever the values are available here, now it is going to be erasing the value false. It will be making that value as true. That's it. That means what I am doing? What is that operation now? Editing. Okay, we are modifying. What column we are modifying? Is a deleted column. We are modifying the value from false to true. To edit this value, we need this edit permission, right? Yes. That's what here, whenever I'm going to be selecting the delete permission, automatically read checkbox will be selected, edit checkbox will be getting selected because we are editing that. Okay. Now, when you go to the recycle bin, once you click on the recycle bin, it is collecting only those records from the object whose is deleted field value equals to true. Now, for example, I went to the recycle bin. Okay, I went to the recycle bin. Now, I selected the checkbox for this record. Click on and delete over here. Then what will happen in this case? Record will be coming back to the actual object. In this case, what it will do? It is going to be erasing this value over here. Now, the value true will be getting erased. Then this value will be getting, changing this value as false. That means record is not a deleted one, record has been restored back here. This means just it is using a flag value. Based on that flag value, just it is indicating whether the record is a deleted one or not here. So that to change the value from true to false, false to true, we are going to be using this is a deleted field, which is maintaining by Salesforce in every object by default here. There is a system reference column which is maintaining by Salesforce. So based on that field, we can identify whether the record is a deleted one or not. Okay. If the record is a deleted one, it will be holding the value as true. If the record is not a deleted one, it will be having the value as false. Because this is purely a checkbox column which is maintaining by Salesforce internally here. In every table, including standard and custom, in every object, you will be having this particular column by default here. Okay. Clear? Now, so now this is the internal functionality. Even though when you go to your Gmail, whatever the unnecessary emails you have received, we are selecting that, we are click on delete button here. Nothing but the recycle bin option. At that time also the same functionality they will do. Okay? At that time also they are doing the same functionality, just they are going to be changing that flag over here. Okay? True to false, false to true. That's it. Nothing else. Everywhere we are using that similar kind of functionality because here to improve the application performance. Okay? Now, so that here, whenever I'm selecting the delete checkbox, automatically read and the edit checkbox will be getting selected. Next one. Suppose if I'm selecting that view all checkbox, then automatically read checkbox will be getting selected by default. That means we can see the records, we can see the other people users record also over here. Now, for example, if I'm selecting that modify all permission, at that time you will be getting that read permission, you will be getting the edit permission, you will be getting the delete permission also over here by default. You can able to modify the records, you can able to delete the records also over here. That permissions will be getting available to you over here inside this. Okay? So that depends upon the permissions which are granted in the profile level, the same permissions will be getting applicable for that users as well. Right. It will be overriding. Okay, it will be overriding that. Now, let's see. Come to a scenario here. For example, okay, for example here. Come to a general scenario. Okay? Come to a general scenario. Assume that I have an object here. For example, I have an account object. I have an account object here. For this account object, I have given that object's OWD. Object OWD as private. Okay. I'm having an account object. For this account object, the object OWD is private. That means what? Whenever a user is creating a record inside this account object, then the record will be getting visible only to the owner of the record and his manager. Other people will not be able to access here. Okay. Now, in this case, when coming to my organization here, I'm having few users are available here. Okay, I'm having few users. User 1, user 2, and the user 3. Okay, user 1, user 2, and the user 3. Now, so now these people are having some relation. Okay, these people are having some relation over here. He is the top level person, and then both the people are reporting to him. Okay, both the people are reporting to him over here. Now this is the user 1. User 1 is the user 2, is the user 3. 3 users are there. Now, when the user 3 creates a record inside this account object, to whom the record is getting visible over here? User 3 will be able to access the record because he is the owner and his manager user 1 also here. Okay. Now, in this case, when coming to the user 2, okay, inside his profile level, okay, inside his profile level, for this account object here, okay, for this account object, he is having that permissions like this. In his profile level, for this particular account object, he is having the permission of view all and then modify all. Then, what will happen in this case? Suppose view all and modify all permission have granted. Then, Portability is doing what? It is restricting the record here. That means whenever the user is created the record will be getting visible to the owner and his manager. But my profile, what it is doing here, profile is forcefully collecting the record from the object, it is making visible to that user 2 also. But basically, user 2 is not a owner of the record. User 2 is not his manager also over here. He is a sibling person here. Okay, but in this case, user 2 is having that full permissions inside the profile level. At that time, whatever the record has been created by the user 3, that record will be getting visible to this person also. Even though if the audibility is restricting my profile level permissions, will override the audibility, forcefully it will collect all the records, it will make it visible to you over here. Okay, it's a common question in every interview. Like, which permissions inside the profile will override the audibility? Okay, which permissions inside the profile will override the audibility? Audibility is granting very basic level of access, like it is having private. That means it will make that record to be get visible to the owner of the record and his manager. Other people should not be able to access. But the profile is granting the full permission to the user. So that here, the profile is going to be overriding the audibility. Even though the audibility is restricting that, profile will override the audibility, collect all the records access, and that records will be getting visible to that user 2 over here. Okay, so that here, inside the profile level, if you are having that view all and modify all permission, then even though you are having the audibility as private, forcefully it will collect that records, it will make it visible to you here. So that you will be having the full permissions on your records over here. Okay, so that here always profile will override the audibility in this case. Okay, profile will override that audibility concept here. Okay, clear? Now, come to a scenario. For example, assume that we have a banking organization. We are all our customers of that bank. We are having some bank accounts over here. Every day, so many people are performing transactions. They're depositing the money, withdrawing the money, because they're using all the banking services. Now, for example, when I log in into my online banking, whose transactions are visible to me? Only mine or other people's also? Only my transaction. Suppose, for example, if this person has logged into his account, he can see only his transaction. If this person has logged into his account, he can see only his transactions here. That means what? User to user, they're able to see only their transactions over here. Like as audibility is private. Okay, because here for that account object here they have given that audibility as private. In our profile level, okay, in our profile level, we are having the permission of read and create permissions. Why? Because we can make the transaction and we can see the transaction history. But we can't remove, we can't delete the transaction, we can't modify the transaction over here. Once you transfer the money, that amount, that entry will be getting visible inside the transaction list, right? Can you remove that entry? No. Even though I did the transaction, I am the owner of that, I don't have the rights to delete that. I can't modify that. Just I can create, I can see, that's it here. But I can't modify, I can't delete. So that inside my profile level, I'm having that permission of only the read and the create permissions. Okay? Only read and create permissions will be available over here. Now, my transactions are visible to whom? For example, she is a bank employee. So now tell me, she can able to see my transactions or not? Yes. She can access not only her account details, she can able to see all the customer transaction, all the customer account details also. That means what? In her profile, she is having the permission of view all. Okay, in her profile level, bank employees profile level will be having view all permission so that they can able to see each and every customer's record details, every customer history also, every customer record they can modify also, they will be having that permission. Because when I go to the bank to deposit some money, they are going to be modifying my record. Already I'm having some balance, some 10,000. Now I'm depositing some 4,000 more. So that they're updating my record from 10,000 to 14,000 over. That means they're having the right permission also. They can able to modify my record so that they're having view all and modify all permissions are available. But in our profile level, we are having only read and create permission. That's it. Okay, depends upon the user, we are granting the different permissions inside their profile here. So for the normal end user's profile, you will be having that read and create permission on that object. For the bank employees, on the same object, they will be having that the view all and modify all permission will be available over here. Okay, because of that profile level permission, they will be getting the more access. We are getting very less access over here. Okay, now. So now here in this case here, let's see how can we see this object level permissions right now. So let's go to that profile level settings here. Click on this edit button. Go to the object level settings. Now, let's see. When you go to that object level settings here, you are having 6 permissions are available. Read permission, create permission, edit, delete, view all, and modify all. 6 permissions are available for each and every object. It may be standard, it may be custom also. When you go to that custom objects here, we are having these permissions. Like as customer object, hiring manager object, position object, and the candidate object here. All these objects are available over here. Okay, now. So in this case, we can able to specify that permissions over here. Let me show you practically. Okay, what is the dependency? I'm selecting that read, so that only read has been getting selected along with that position also here. Now, for example, let me take that customer. So I'm selecting that only the read checkbox, so that only read checkbox has been selected. For example, I'm selecting that create. Automatically read checkbox also has been selected over here, dependency. I'm selecting that edit checkbox here. Automatically read has been selected. For example, I'm selecting that delete. Automatically read and edit checkbox has been selected. For example, I'm selecting that view all. Automatically read checkbox has been selected. When I click on modify all, they will be getting that the read permission, edit, delete, view all. All these options will be getting selected over here. But you can't create the record. You can see the other people's record. You can modify the other people's record. You can delete the other people's records also. You will be having the full permissions on this here. This is the dependency that we have. Okay. Now, for example, come to that scenario here. Assume that here I'm selecting that read checkbox for the position here. Okay, read checkbox here. Now it has been selected only that position read checkbox. Create checkbox here. Edit checkbox I have selected. Delete checkbox also I have selected. Okay, now, for example, I'm selecting that candidate checkbox, candidate object over here. If I'm selecting read, why it is selecting this position object checkbox here? Why? What is the relationship? Master detail. That's what here. Because here, child should be purely controlled by parent. That's what here, whenever I'm granting that read permission, then automatically position also. Because here, you can grant the access on the position, then automatically candidates also will be getting granted over here. Okay. So that here there is a dependency is available. If I'm removing the access on that, the candidate, okay, then it will be removing that. Suppose if I'm removing on the position, you can't get the access on the candidates also over here. Okay, because candidate records are purely controlled by the position object over here. Okay, like that. We can able to specify the permissions inside your profile level. For example, when coming to my objects here, now let's see. Take a small use case here. Now, configure the object level permissions to the development user as below. For the account object, I would like to grant only read permission and edit permission. On the lead object, I would like to grant the permission on only on read. Okay, only the read permission I would like to grant. Then, what we can do? How can we grant these permissions over here? For this development user, I would like to grant the profile level permissions like this. On this account object, just he can able to see the record, he can able to modify, but he can't create, he can't remove those records. Then how can we do this one? How can we grant the permissions over here? Go to the development user's profile, go to that object level permissions here. Okay. So here the development user's profile over here. That is CIS Salesforce profile. Let's go to the profile level permissions, go to that object here. For what object, what permissions we need to grant? For the account object, I would like to grant only read and edit permission here. Now, let's see. I want to grant only the read permission and edit permission over here. Okay. And next one. For the lead object here, what permission? Only that read permission I would like to grant. I don't want to grant that create, edit, and then delete also here. Only that lead object here, they will be having only that read permission. So these are the permissions I would like to grant over here. Now let's make the changes to be saved into the database. Click on save. Now let's log in into the development user account now. So let's log in into the development user account now. Click on login. Go to that account object here. Now tell me, do you have new button over here to create the new records? No. Why? Because I have granted only read permission and edit permission. So now whatever the records he has created in the past, those records he can able to see. See, observe this one here. Even though, okay, he is the owner of this record, he can't remove over here. Delete permission is also not available over here. Just he can see the record, he can modify the record. He can't create, he can't remove the record from that organization over here. Okay. So now he can able to open the record and he can able to modify that record value over here. Okay. He can change that value over here. That possibility is available. But he can't delete the record from that object over here. And that too, he can't create any more records inside this. Okay. Next. When you go to the lead object here, we have granted only read permission. Let's go to that. Go to the lead object here. He can able to see that information. Okay. He can see that lead records information. Open the lead record. Now tell me, do they have any other options here? Edit permission, delete permission, sharing permission, nothing. Simply they can able to see the record, that's it. Now, once you go back to the lead, now will this person is having any new button to create a new lead record? No. He can't create, he can't modify, he can't delete, and he can't see that, he can't share the record here. Just he can see the records which are available inside this object. Because here we have granted only that read permission for that particular user on that lead object. So that depends upon the requirement on what object, what permissions to be get applicable, we can decide inside that profile level over here. Okay? Clear? Now, this is the way we can able to grant the permissions on your object level here. Then what operations we have to do, we can decide with the help of those checkboxes over here. Okay? Now, next. The what fields to be get accessible by this user over here, we can decide. In every object, you are having so many fields are available. Okay, in every object, so many fields are available. Then in this case, for which users, which fields to be get visible, that we can decide. That possibility is available with the help of the profile level permissions. Through profile level permissions, we can indicate what fields the user can able to see. Okay, that we can decide here. Okay, now. Like for example, let's come to a general scenario. Assume that I'm having the account object here. In this account object, for example, take the contact. In this contact object, I'm having so many fields are available here. Okay, so many fields are available. Now the development user is able to see all the fields available inside the contact. But now, for the development user, I don't want to display the home phone, mobile phone, and the email ID field, and the lead source field. I don't want to make it visible. These are the fields I don't want to make it visible to this development user here. How can we do this? Okay. If I'm removing from the page layout level, then what will happen? Through programming, when I create the record will be accepted. Okay. But even though they are creating the record by using any manner, they can create the record through page layout also, through data loader also, through import wizard also, through programming also, through third-party tools also, through integration also. When the user is trying to be accessing that field should not be accessible. They can't supply, they can't read that field values. I want to remove the access on that field completely to the user here. Now, if you want to hide, just you can remove from the page layout for this user level here. But I don't want to hide, I want to remove the access completely. Then what we can do? In this case, just to go to that profile of this development user, remove the access from that profile level permissions. Now let's see how can we do that here. So let's take a small use case here. Now, configure the field level permissions on the contact object to the development user to restrict the access. To restrict the access on the home phone, mobile phone, email, and lead source fields. Okay, and lead source fields. So I would like to restrict the access of these fields inside my contact object to this development user. So that go to that user's profile, and in that profile level, just you can able to go to that contact object here and then remove that permissions over here. Just you can unselect that checkbox for that field. So now let's see how can we do this one. For this one, in order to grant the field level permissions, to restrict the field level permissions, we are having two mechanisms are available over here. One is through the profile also we can able to restrict that. Second one, from the field level also we can do that. There is a possibilities available. Okay, there is a possibilities available. Let me show you both the mechanisms over here. Now, inside that profile of the development user here, let me come out from the development user account, go to the profile level permissions of the development user. Here you will be having that field level settings, field level permissions. Go to that field level security. For what object you would like to restrict the visibility of the fields? What object fields you don't want to make it visible to the user? Contact object. Go to that contact object here, click on view. Once you click on view, it is indicating that fields information. All the fields will be getting visible over here. Okay, all the fields are getting visible. Now, what you want to do, I don't want to display the home phone field. Okay, and then I don't want to display the email field. I don't want to display the lead source field. I don't want to display that mobile field here. Then what we can do? By default, the field is visible right now here. Nothing but read access is available. I don't want to make it visible. Click on edit button and select the checkboxes here. Email field, I don't want to make it visible and select that. And then home phone, I don't want to make it visible. Third one, mobile phone. Fourth one, lead source field. And select this checkbox. Now click on save button. So from now onwards, development user can't able to see these fields. Let's go to the development user account now. Let's see that. Log in into the development user account. Go to that contact object. Click on new. Are you able to see that fields over here? Home phone, email field, lead source field, and then one more field. What is that? Mobile field. Now these four fields are not visible to this person over here, so that he can't see that fields, he can't access, he can't supply the value through programming also. Salesforce won't allow, because here when the user is supplying, it will be trying to be inserting the record values inside the field, but this user is not at all having the access on that, so that he can't write the value inside that, so that he will be getting the message insufficient privileges on these fields. Okay, field level permissions has been enabled here. Okay, now next one more mechanism to restrict the visibility on the fields. Suppose if you want to restrict the visibility on the fields, one more mechanism is available. From the field side, we can able to do that here. How can we do that here? Now, currently, development user is able to see the fields like this. These are the fields he is able to see right now. I want to restrict the field of development for department field and then birth date field also. These two fields also should not be visible. Okay. Now I want to do from that field level security over here. Let's see how can we do that. Second mechanism over here. Now in this case, go to that contact object here. Go to the view fields. Here you will be having that field. Which field you don't want to make it visible? Now let's see. What is that field? Department field. Okay, just to go to the department field over here. Here we are having a button called as set a field level security button. There is a button called as set a field level security button. That means that from the field level we can able to make it visible. Now, click on set a field level security button. Now it is indicating currently this department field is visible to every profile user. To whom you don't want to make it visible? Development user. Development user is associated to which profile? CIS Salesforce profile. Just you can able to unselect the checkbox. Next, what is that another field you don't want to make it visible here? Now click on save button for the department field and then let's take another field over here. Go to that next field. What field you don't want to make it visible? Birth date field over here. Okay, birth date. Now go to that field over here. Click on set a field level security button. I don't want to make it visible to that the CIS Salesforce profile user. Now unselect this checkbox. Click on save. So now let's log in into the development user over here now. Log in into the development user now. Go to the contacts. Click on new. Now he can't see the department field. He can't see that birth date field also. So that whenever you are restricting the field for the particular profile users, we can go from the profile level, we can go from that field level also over here. By using field level security button also, we can able to restrict that field over here. Okay. Now, make a note of this use case here. This is from the profile level. To profile. And the second use case. To field level security. Now, configure the field level security on the contact object to restrict the visibility of the department field and birth date field for the CIS Salesforce profile users. For the CIS Salesforce profile users. This is the second use case. So try this use case today here. Tomorrow we'll see some more features of that profile level permissions so that we can complete that profiles topic by tomorrow here. Okay.